Bethanne, tell us a little bit about the design process that you go through when you are creating a quilt.
Sure. Well, often I'm inspired by something at some point. Frequently, it might be a color story that I've, sort of seen and I'm interested in, or maybe there's been an image or a picture that really spoke to me. And so I'll use that as a starting point, and I'll develop the quilt. And I'm usually using an Amish style quilt because that's kind of where I'm from, and it just creates a lovely backdrop for my quilting process. And the actual process, though, of putting the pictographic drawings, the pictorial elements on my quilts, when I first started, I would just draw it straight on the fabric. I would use a sharp piece of chalk, and I drew straight on the fabric. But my more recent quilts have a lot more recognizable animals and creatures in them that require a lot more sensitivity, whereas a jellyfish, maybe you can get away with a little bit of flexibility, but if you make the squirrel look rabid, then people will get upset. So I wanted to have more control over that process, and so I am actually designing on paper. I will trace the quilt full scale and put that on my wall, and I will draw everything out and then transfer that to the quilt. So each element's actually getting drawn 4 or more times. So you've got the initial drawing, all the refining that's required to perfect it. I have to trace that with a dark ink, like a Sharpie marker, so that I can see it on my light table, transfer it on the light table to the quilt, and then I'm tracing it, of course, in thread on a long arm. And what a lot of people don't realize is that nearly every single line on my quilts has a start and a stop with a thread tie-off. There's thousands of thread tie-offs because the really delicate pictorial quilting that I do will be obliterated if I go over it and double stitch it. An eyeball or a very delicate thing. I can sometimes sneak around, but in a lot of cases, I'm actually starting and stopping with every line on the quilt. So it's a very labor-intensive process. It just takes hundreds of hours to do it. But when it's your art and you're really trying to go to show, but also just like how far can I push myself on my own artistic qualities? It's like no amount of pain is too much pain, because it's a reflection of how far can I go as an artist to achieve something.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It's been great having you.
Thank you.